Thank you. And welcome to the Saturday Night Show. All right. My next guest is a young filmmaker who wants to be the new David Attenborough, but for now, he's been working on a project. Simmer down, simmer down. I know you're excited about the potatoes, but calm down. We have them every Sunday in my house, don't you? For now, he's been working on a project where he asks people one simple question. What do you love about life? Here to tell us what he loves about his life, with his dad, Jonathan, please welcome Fionn Crombie Angus. Hi, Fionn. All right. Hi, Jonathan. Guys, you're very welcome. Now, Fionn, before we start, we should maybe show a little clip from the film, will we, to show people what it's about? Okay, we'll have a look.
What do you love about your life?
So, Fionn, the film you've made is you went around and you asked people, what do you love about your life?
Yes.
And I know that for version one of it, the first bunch of people you asked were people with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And what kind of answers did they give you?
Katie said that she loves to play with her dog. And Leon said he loves music and he really likes to dance.
Mm-hmm. We all do, yeah.
Yeah, and Owen enjoys racing greyhounds.
Racing greyhounds, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Now, Fionn, you did a second version of it then with people who didn't have Down syndrome and some well-known people and stuff.
Yes.
So you had people like Ryan Sheridan, am I right? And who else?
And Damien Dempsey and Irish fiddler Martin Hayes.
Martin Hayes, of course, yeah. And tell me, what did Damien Dempsey love about his life? Because he's quite a serious kind of guy.
Yeah.
So what does he love?
He loves to swim.
He loves to swim. Yeah, I do too. Do you like to swim?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. And am I right in thinking you then went swimming with him?
Yes.
So you said, what do you love? He said swimming, and the two of you went off for a swim.
Yes.
Sounds good to me. Jonathan, I'll come to you for a minute. Fionn, we're going to talk about you a bit now in front of you, but we're not being rude, okay?
Okay. Go on, sir.
So, Jonathan, and I know you've set up now this kind of collaborative project with Fionn, and kind of Fionnathan is kind of a film company, and the purpose of it is to, I guess, help Fionn to kind of to live out his passion in life and to have something to do as he grows into an adult, yeah?
That's it, Brendan. We realised pretty early on that Fionn has a real love of nature and of video work, and we sort of put the two together. We've been making films for years now, but we decided that we'd kind of take it up to the next level, and so we've started this production company that we call Fionnathan Productions. And we have grand ambitions for it. We hope it will be an arts collaborative, and we hope to work with any number of interesting people, both those who have extra challenges or just people who are interesting in one way and another.
You know, I'd say there's a lot of people at home thinking, God, isn't it great that Fionn and his dad do this together, like, and you're obviously good pals, are you, Fionn?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the thing you do with cows together?
I play my violin for them, and they love it.
Do they?
Yeah. They love it.
We started
Really?
this.
And how can you tell? Do they smile?
No.
No.
But when you just play the violin, they just stand up and just stand there and they just glare at you, actually right into your face.
Yeah, really, yeah? So you
Yeah.
could, they're looking right at you, and so you
Yeah.
kind of make a connection with the cows. Excellent.
We started this one day driving by a field, and there were horses in the field. And Fionn took out his violin and started to play, and sure enough, the horses came over to see what was happening. And it made a wonderful scene. And we put that up on our Facebook page, and we got one comment from the States, a woman who has a 8-year-old boy with Down syndrome. And she said, he watched it, and then he says, "More, please." And then they watch it again, and he says, "More, please." And they watch it over and over.
I can imagine it being quite hypnotic to watch. It's an interesting thing, actually, about you, Fionn, that, and I suppose maybe, Jonathan, you could explain it to us, that, okay, you mentioned there extra challenges, and obviously, on some scales, Fionn, intellectually, is maybe different to other people. But then clearly he has this kind of, would you call it an emotional intelligence or something?
Well, I would. I think it's unfortunate that we don't have better language to describe unique people. That the idea of disability seems to put the larger group of us in one category and then these other folks in another category. And really, we all have disabilities of one sort or another because we're not able to do everything. And when I think of my own life, if I didn't have good people helping me to get through the day, I hardly would get through the day.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing, is to recognize we all have disability and we all have abilities. And I think for Fionn, one of his really key abilities is in the realm of helping people to see positive things. And it happened just a little while ago up in the makeup room. And Fionn, what was it that he was kind of chatting up the makeup ladies and saying nice things. And what was it that she said, Fionn?
That I look like Brendan O'Connor.
With what?
But with Down syndrome.
Listen, you didn't need to add in the other bit. He said he looked like Brendan O'Connor with Down syndrome. You didn't need to add in the other bit. You definitely, the two of us have a look. We could be related somewhere back along the line, but we'll maybe discuss that later. We don't want to get your father in trouble.
I don't think we will, Dad.
Yeah, you like the showbiz?
Yes.
Yeah, you're a natural performer, aren't you?
Of course,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. You go far in the movies, in the filmmaking, you will.
Yes.
Listen, there's obviously, this is all very positive and everything, but then there are things like that a lot of people will find kind of, I don't know, the things that people will go, whoa, when about your story and your story with Fionn. For example, that when Fionn was 12, you had to have a conversation with him. And the conversation was, what?
Yeah, well, to tell him that he has Down syndrome. Because we'd never really, you go through life raising your child and you don't think about, it's not what you think of when you see your child day to day. It's just Fionn.
Yeah.
But we realized at some point that in his class at school, all the other children knew that Fionn had Down syndrome, but we'd never had that conversation with him. So for that reason alone, it became important to discuss it with him.
And was it a difficult conversation to have? Was it a sad thing?
It wasn't particularly, no, because what does it mean to have Down syndrome? We just, we told Fionn about a lot of his friends who he knows who have Down syndrome. We didn't have a discussion about genetics and what it might mean. But I think my wife Veronica and I have a quite positive attitude about Fionn's condition, and he seems to as well.
Yeah, Fionn, how do you feel about having Down syndrome?
It's okay. It's special to me. I find it unique. But what is the question?
How do you?
How do you what? Give me a prompt, come on.
Yeah.
About not having.
Oh yeah. What do you feel about not having Down syndrome, Brandon?
Good point. You know what I feel, Fionn? Meeting you tonight, I feel I'm missing out, to be honest. So listen, your big passion in life, apart from the filmmaking, you love nature,
Yes.
don't you? And you love wildlife and all that. And
Yes.
you have been around giving talks in schools. What have you been talking about?
About the mammals of Ireland.
Okay. And that went very well, I know. So you're preparing a new talk now, aren't you, to give in schools next year? And what's that going to be about?
It's about the eagles in Mount Shannon, County Clare.
That's where you're from?
Yes.
And they've reintroduced eagles there, is that right?
Yes.
And when did they bring the eagles there?
And the eagles.
They brought themselves there, didn't
Oh,
they?
did
They
the
actually
eagles
brought
came.
themselves there.
And have you've been keeping an eye on them, have you?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be giving me a talk about them soon. And tell me, you have some good news about the Heritage Commission.
Yes.
Yes, tell me that news.
We got an invitation to be interviewed by them, so I'm going to become the youngest, the youngest heritage expert with Down syndrome in the whole of Ireland.
I bet, wow.
Very good.
I would imagine you're probably going to be the youngest heritage expert with or without Down syndrome in all of
is
Ireland.
true.
So you have that
Yes.
interview next week, is that right?
Yes.
Well, listen, if they don't give it to you after tonight, they'll have to now that you've said it on television.
Of course.
Because listen, if they don't, we'll announce on the show next week. By the way, remember that kid Fionn you all loved last week? The Heritage Commission turned him down. There's no way they'll do that, Fionn, okay?
No.
Now, the other thing that you love is music, isn't it?
Yes.
And we talked about you playing the fiddle for the cows earlier. Now, we couldn't get any cows tonight, Fionn, okay? We do have some redheads. And we have the rest of them. They're more like sheep than cows, really. But would you play a bit of music for them?
I would indeed.
Okay, and maybe Jonathan give you a hand there.
Indeed. Okay, you stand up.
Okay, Fionn, what are you going to play for us?
It's a hornpipe and it's called Boys of Blue Hill.
Okay.
Now wait a minute, so to stop talking.
Hooray! Well done, man. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Fionn and Jonathan.
All right, we'll do a high five.
A man of many talents there. And Fiona and Jonathan want as many people as possible to get involved in their current brilliant project and in future projects. So check out fionnathan.com for details. Okay, time now to give away £5,000. Do I have Jenny O'Sullivan from County Kerry on the line?
Hello, Brendan. I'm delighted
Jenny?
to hear from you, Brendan.
Jenny, how's it going?
I'm very well. I'm thrilled to hear from you, Brendan.
Oh, good. You see, the Kerry crowd always put a good show on.
Oh, sure. My goodness, we're nearly as good as the Cox out, Brendan.
Nearly. You'll get
We're
there
good.
sometime. Listen,
Yeah,
would you take
Brendan, come on,
£5,000?
give me the good news.
Sorry? Okay, would you take £5,000 off me, Jenny?
I would, and I have a great thrill in taking it, Brendan. And I have no problem spending it, Brendan.
All right. Good night, Jenny. See
Good
ya.
night, Brendan.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
All right, that's it from all of us. Thanks to all my guests, especially Fionn and Jonathan here. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Good night.